India's UPI and DPI have been key highlights of India's G20 presidency, and there are some key takeaways with regard to them in the Delhi Declaration. To talk about this, we have with us Rishabh Bhatnagar, who's a journalist with BQ Prime. Thank you, Rishabh, for speaking to us. So what is this One Future Alliance that the Delhi Declaration talks about?
Right. So One Future Alliance is a very interesting, it's basically an alliance of very like-minded countries that will come together very, very soon. A very key question that the One Future Alliance is answering is that of funding support to scale technology and public welfare in low and middle income countries. That's been a thorn for a very long time about how a lot of African nations, a lot of South American nations can implement tech at a very large scale without it costing, a bomb. So that's a very key question. Another very key takeaway from the declaration was that a common definition and framework have been agreed upon for the first time ever. This never happened in a G20 declaration. So DPI has really sort of gotten a boost from that as well. Part of the Future Alliance, the One Future Alliance, is a global repository that India will be owning, not owning, but they'll be building it and they'll be managing it as well. So it'll be sort of an India stack that will be available to a lot of these countries to implement it in their own ways in all these, in their own countries.
Right. Rishabh, also tell us how is India going to help developing countries, especially those in Africa, to adapt forms of DPI?
Right. So again, the funding issue is what has proven to be sort of a barrier for the wide adoption. So the One Future Alliance will answer that very key question in adopting financial inclusion in a lot of these low and middle income countries around the world.
Also, Rishabh, this is one question I was particularly interested in. Amitabh Kant said that DPI in the West has been more sort of propelled by big tech, whereas in India it's different because it's open source and interoperable. Can you explain that to us?
Right. For example, UPI in India is held by the National Payments Corporation of India, which is a company registered under the Section 8 of the Companies Act, which basically means it's not for profit. Compared to the US, that's a very different approach. In the US, you have a lot of fintechs driving that. In India, it's completely open source. You can get on you can form your UPI ID using accounts from any bank, literally. So, in a way, it's not driven by profits. It's driven by technological innovation and financial inclusion.
Thank you, Rishabh.